Welcome to Beyond the Touchline. I'm your host, Mohamed Gubara,
I'm Marcus Anthony.
and this podcast is all about exploring the parts of the sport that stats, highlights, and scoreboards can't capture.
Here, we go deeper past the field, past the touchline to the mindset, journeys, culture, and real experiences that shape athletes, coaches, and teams. Whether you're a player, parent, coach, or someone who simply loves the game, this is a space where performance meets perspective.
Each week, we'll bring you conversations with athletes, coaches, and professionals across the sports world, diving into development, leadership, adversity, transitions, and the behind-the-scenes stories that define the sport at every level.
In today's episode, we want to share the player pathway from club, college, high school, and still back to college.
So thank you guys for continuing to support the podcast. This is something new for us, but now we really enjoy it. We're just having meaningful conversations. And in future episodes, we'll bring in a lot more kind of guests and dive into topics that kind of involve a little bit more of those people who come on and kind of help us discuss these topics and bring the best content for you guys. So appreciate you guys. Make sure you check out episode 1 on Spotify, Apple Podcasts. If you want to watch the actual video, check our YouTube channel, Beyond the Touchline, and let's get into today's episode. As Marcus said, we're talking about the player pathways, kind of club, high school, and how does that translate into the college pathway. Marcus, you played in an IA, soccer, and now coach at the JUCO level. From those experiences, why do you think the player pathway is so hard for families to understand?
I think that's a good question. I think that a lot of players and parents don't understand that each level comes with different expectations, different level of commitment, like what it takes to be at JUCO, what it takes to be at D3, D2, D1, Everyone wants to be D1, but don't understand like the discipline, the connection, and what it really means, how many things you got to be on top of, training on your own and still like understanding, like especially from JUCO, JUCO, it is a little, it's something, it's a stepping stone. If you might have messed up in your grades and then you could kind of push forward. So I think understanding all of what families miss and understanding the commitment aspect to it, 2-a-day trainings, all those little things, Yeah. So for you, Mo, I guess you played 1 year college soccer at JUCO.
Yeah.
And you said you didn't understand recruiting back then. From that personal experience, where do you think players today get lost in the process?
I could speak a little bit more about kind of what I went through and kind of just being a walk-on into the JUCO kind of out of Noka Ramsey. I didn't really have a guidance. I just kind of did my own thing and was hoping for the best. I mean, just a prime example, I had a 12-minute highlight video. Like no college coach will look at that. So that's kind of like the guidance that come into play. But like there's steps to each there's steps to getting recruited. And for me, I didn't really understand what those steps are. All I thought was get a highlight reel and just send it out. So that's kind of the one thing that I think players who don't have guidance get stuck on is they think that a highlight reel can be 20 minutes, 15 minutes, whatever it is. But in reality, it shouldn't be longer. College coaches aren't going to sit down for 12 minutes to watch a highlight video of nonsense. So I think that's kind of where that comes into play just from my own experience. And I didn't get recruited and I just went in as a walk-on and got that college experience.
Yeah. Would you say that the highlight tape should be a little bit more specific to the all-around game, defending, attacking, like those aspects versus just you scoring goals? I mean, all of it matters, but give your take on that.
I think you got to be a little bit like what I tell a lot of the kids is, hey, like put more so like your passes, not just any passes, but real like as a center back. I mean, just for my position as a fullback, hey, can you find the runs that you make, the accurate passes, not just a back pass, but more so showing coaches that you're not just a player who just runs forward and that's all you have, but show them what you want to see from them in a short span of time. Your assist goals also plays a crucial part, but if you're a defensive midfielder, you want to put in those good tackles, your interceptions, but also what is the next action you made after that tackle? So those pieces are, I think, is crucial in kind of putting in your highlight. As an attacker, it's a lot easier to
Yeah.
make a highlight reel based on skills,
Yeah,
goals,
yeah.
assists, and those type of things. But I think as you go as a center back, fullback, those type midfielder, it's a lot harder for you kind of get those highlights and know what is right and what is wrong.
What yeah.
Yeah. I mean, as a college coach, what strengths did you typically see in players who kind of come through the structured club environment?
I think what I saw from a lot of players was simply this: they were ready. They understood, especially if you played that ECNL level or that top NPL level and done those meaningful college showcases, they were ready. So they understood the speed of play and then they understood the tactical aspects, right? A lot of coaches at those levels are very tactical with what they expect, and most of their practices are, some of them might be pattern of play, some of it, like to really get players to see what's happening and control the environment versus just heavily relying on physical attributes. Your physical attributes is one thing, but like in a well structured club environment, players coming into JUCO, they're ready because they've been playing. And then to add a little twist to that, right? What separates high school from that is the fact that you're playing all year long. And think about when the high school season ends. Like the games start, you start training in like November here in Minnesota, anyways. And then you start a game in December, game or two in December, and a showcase or something like that. So then you have maybe 5 or 6 games under your belt. And then you go into January, you add one or two more. So, and then that works you all the way into summer. So a well structured club player coming into JUCO, they're ready. They understand the physicality of the game. They understand everything. And it's just, adapting your tactics as a coach for them to understand your style of play and what you expect from them. Um, but then here's what I ask you, from the club coaching side, what does club soccer provide that directly prepares a player for college, both in training demands and competition?
I think kind of the biggest piece is like a structure, like is very structured, like having a coach who wants you to play a certain way, wants you to behave on the field a certain way, that kind of prepares you for the college level. If you have a coach that's asking you, hey, I want you to play this style of play, that's what's going to happen at the collegiate level is coaches want you to play their style of play. It's
Hmm.
not go do whatever you want to do. But I also say if you have coaches who have experience within the college game, they prepare you a lot better than coaches who don't really have that experience within the
Yeah.
college game. And I see a lot of college coaches coaching at the club level at U16, 17 and older. And I think those players are a lot prepared just because the coaching side of the game is a lot better in terms of club soccer and being in that piece apart. And then as we talk later on about high school and the pathway through high school, it's a lot different than club soccer because it's super structured and there's training demands. The competition is higher. I mean, you play against different type of teams who you might have some teams who play long balls and how do we play within that piece, or
Yeah.
you have teams who play possession and how do you prepare yourself to play that. So kind of also watching film, understanding film, that's kind of the biggest piece that I see.
Okay. Give your take on this though as well. As a club coach and a high school coach, right? How important is it that the tactical aspects of the game is introduced to players, especially, if you have a good feeder program into your high school, right? How does that play into your style of teaching? Because those players don't play under you throughout their club season, but they meet you. But when they come to you, how easy is it to transition them into your style of play? Do you think that their coaches have done a good job to help them understand like different style of play or the tactical aspect? Like, for instance, understand the difference between a low block and mid block.
I think I think club soccer plays a crucial role in when they come to high school because I mean, just from my program is I have coaches that coach at Blackhawks. So it helps a lot better for me to kind of understand the environment within that club and know people within that club. But I think players who come into high school, they understand the tactical aspect, they understand what they need to do, and that kind of goes far into what we're trying to accomplish. So having a coach who understand that piece and play high level soccer, it's a lot easier for me to transition into what we want them to do. Obviously, we're gonna have those players here and there who aren't really there, but that's a lot easier coaching 3, 4 guys who don't play club soccer,
Yeah.
high level club soccer, than coaching an entire team of what you want them to do.
So is integration a little tricky, or
I think it's a lot trickier for those who don't play club soccer,
Okay.
high level club soccer.
But then some people are fast learners too, right? So then
Yep.
you're playing a 50-50.
I think that
Oh,
plays a crucial role as well. So, I
gotcha.
mean, that's kind of what I think based off of that piece. I mean, a lot of families believe club automatically leads to like college opportunities. From your kind of JUCO recruiting perspective, what's the biggest misconception about it?
And it's so tricky. It's tricky. It's
Yeah.
like it's tricky. You play club and you still have to ask the question, is college soccer what players want to do? You still gotta ask that question. Do they want to? And if they want to, what are they looking for? Because a player might come to you and say, I'm looking to go D2 or D3. And then you go, the moment, I don't know if you are 2 or D3, and nothing saying you can't develop that, right? Or like D2 or D3, especially for guys that might want to start, right? And then there's some guys that understand that D2, D3 is where they want to end, but they might have to go to JUCO. So for families and for players that believe like them playing club soccer leads to college, it has to do with their process of recruitment, right? Where are you trying to go? What are you trying to do? Your videos, right? There's that piece. There's so many little things, but for me, it has to do with, did you give your all when you played and as you're playing? Because when you walk into college, you're gonna have to understand whatever you did at high school goes out the window. The work rate, everything is 10 times more. And if you don't understand that, you have to lock in and start doing work right then and there once you send out your recruitment, your CV, then you're kind of behind. Because if you're waiting until summer to go, then it's a little bit difficult to say that you could like talk about your piece on that, right? Before you went to college, did you know that you had to be working in the summer and playing games and going to the gym and training, So for JUCO, like a lot of players just show up on the day of, and then you have a tryout, right? Because you want to fill your roster up, right? To have good numbers, because some kids might drop out of class on the first
Yep.
day of school, and you want to have enough players to be able to go to a game versus having 12 players, like, or 13, So your take on it. What do you think? When you went in, were you prepared or could you have been better prepared?
I think I could have been better prepared. I thought it was just more so, okay, go get a trial done and you should be fine. But I didn't really take the steps necessary in terms of conditioning, in terms of consistently playing day in and day out, having those rest days and preparing not just physically, but also mentally for the college time. I went into the first training and I was like, whoa, this is nothing like high school. So I had players from outside the country, players from all over the world. And it taught me a lot on the fact that, boy, you should have been prepared. But I mean, part of it could have been, did you really want to play college soccer? Or did you say, you know what, I'm taking classes here. I want to go play college
Yeah,
soccer. So I think that aspect of it, I feel as though if I knew that I was going to go play college soccer, that I'll be a
yeah,
lot more prepared.
exactly.
Yeah, but I just felt as though that was going to keep me out of trouble. And I felt as though it was going to make me stay grounded to my education a lot more, just because of the fact that you need a certain amount of credits to be able to be eligible.
Yep.
You're a student athlete, you're not an athlete student. And I think that plays a crucial part that a lot of kids don't understand. Like, you need to be a student athlete. It's not just go play ball and call it a day. I mean, you're going to have 2 trainings a day, but a lot of kids are like, oh, I don't have enough time.
You still
You
got
actually do have enough time, and you still got to get it done no matter what,
yeah.
because it's teaching kind of a life lesson. So, I mean, for me, I've struggled my first semester very, very hard, just because of the fact that we had 2 trainings, we had away games on the bus. I didn't take my education seriously. And I was like, you know what, I'll get this done later. It's soccer time right now. So,
Yep.
those moments within the bus that you're traveling 2, 3 hours, that's your time to get stuff done.
Let me ask you this though. Do you think, right? Because it's a topic that's going around now. Because this is getting interesting, right? Do you think the fall for fall athletes, right? Or just I say soccer. We could also go and say all fall
Yeah.
sports. Do you say fall sports, right? In that fall window kind of set play athletes up to fail? It's questionable, right?
I mean, yeah, because for me, like, I thought college was going to be similar to high school. Like, I was delegated, so I was taking my sweet time to turn in everything.
Yeah.
I went in to college with a high school mindset. I didn't really go into it like a college, like, bro, like, no one is going to be telling you, like, hey, get this done. It was
Yeah.
more so you got to do it
Yeah.
yourself. So, like, I think that piece kind of set me up for failure, but I think I did it within myself. But I see why the fall would be kind of like setting up for
Yeah.
failure, because a lot of the freshmen come in and it's kind of like,
Even in high school, give your
yeah,
high school take as a high school coach.
I mean,
Your high school experience, while you were in high school.
yeah, I mean, while in high school, like, I just kind of rolled through high school. I didn't really put in a little bit more effort. And like, it didn't get to a point where I'm like, oh, I'm ineligible, but like, I didn't understand that that plays a huge factor into you getting
Yep.
recruited. Now I'm telling a lot of the kids, like, yo, like, be on top of your like grades. A lot of the kids are like, coach, I need to get home. I'm like, dude, you're a student athlete. If you need to miss training, go
Take care
ahead,
of that.
take care of
Yeah.
your business, because you need to be a student athlete to be
Yeah.
able to participate and get
Yeah.
quality soccer, but also help the team and help everyone grow.
I put a piece of this for us at Anoka Ramsey. I throw study sessions in mid-season. We might do a film session, but then we might end up being there doing, that's just what it is right now, because you gotta balance it. I don't want you to waste your money. I
Yeah.
also want you to be eligible for the next year if you do decide to play a second year. And then on top of that, I want you to get the best grade possible, because you know how hard it is to be a student athlete and to be academic all conference and stuff like that. Not saying it's a high expectation, but as a coach, I would love to have all my athletes be academic all conference, having 3.0 and higher, having a cumulative GPA for for the program altogether as a 3.5. Beautiful.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's just fun.
Uh,
All right, Mo. So as a high school head coach, what does high school soccer offer that club can't replicate, especially when it comes to preparing players for the college environment?
I think kind of like it's a school setting. So repping your high school, repping your school, game in and game out, within training, within everything, that kind of is close to the college environment. But also, you're training 6 out of the 7 days. You're either training or playing a game,
Yeah.
and that replicates college soccer, but also the short season.
Yep.
Like, club soccer is a long span, depending on the level you're playing.
Yeah.
Some teams start in the winter, that's their season, and some teams start in the spring and summer. But I think high school it gets as close as it gets to the college route in terms of consistently training every single day, playing games maybe twice a week. Like, I feel like that aspect plays a crucial role, but also being a student athlete plays a crucial
Yeah.
role. Because in club soccer, I mean, this all depends on the parent, how they want to deal with it. Their kid might be failing every class and they're still showing up
Yep.
to soccer. Or you might have those parents who, if you don't get higher than a B, you're not playing soccer. So, like, within the club environment, there's a little bit of
Yeah.
leeway
Yeah.
in terms of coming to train. But high school, there is no leeway. If you don't show up to class, you're not playing a game.
Yeah.
And I think that kind of prepares you a lot more in terms of the environment, the culture, film sessions, and doing that consistently and preparing for teams
Yeah.
that you know how they play, just because it's high school
Yep.
soccer. You
Nobody.
play similar teams
Yeah.
every single year, conference, section tournaments, state tournament. Within college, it's kind of nationals.
And everyone is around, so you really have time to go watch games.
Yes.
and scout your opponent, and
Yeah, I think that all that plays a crucial role, and having a fan section, those type of stuff, having a crowd, playing for the
yeah.
school more so and
Mhm.
more so than the club. So I think that
It's
plays
not,
a
yeah, it's not like you have a crowd that other than parents, you
yep,
know, and a couple cousin versus
100%.
your school. Everybody's coming out chanting you.
Yeah,
No,
that's kind of all it is. So,
yeah.
I mean, you coach high school soccer and then evaluated players as a college coach. What separated the high school players who were college ready from those who weren't ready yet?
What separate that separation was based on like who's taking care of stuff, right? You know, schoolwork, having your schoolwork done, and then being able to reach out and sending emails, understanding like what it required to get recruited. You sending multiple emails, checking back in. College ready player is sending you their schedule, letting you know, hey, in the winter or in the summer, I'm gonna have these games here, and please show up. They're checking in. They're having their high school coaches reach out. One of the things a lot of players from a recruiting standpoint that I've used is that field level account, and their coaches, coaches who are invested in that put their time into it, and they eval their players and they send their players on. Like as a college coach, I see players from Texas, Florida, the UK, like players that are all reaching out, trying to come on over into the US to play at JUCO, at D3, at all the levels, and player that's ready, they're letting you know straight up, hey, this is me. This is my height. This is my weight. This is my video. And this is my coach. So if you want more, they're giving you the whole resume and tend to get all the information you need to get about them. And then, for that's what separated players that were college ready, and then they're letting you know they're in these showcases, so you could also come and see whether you're a part of the recruiting show, members of that showcase. So that one was big. That separated just high school the players that weren't ready. There's players that wait last minute, and as a college coach, you think about it, right? Even a high school coach for you could attest to this. Like you set your schedule up probably while your season is going on. As soon as you shake that coach's
Yep.
hand, hey, are we doing it again next
Yep.
year? And that is past your conference because your conference is preset, like same thing for colleges, right? For most colleges. And then you go into now trying to really have all these things ready to execute. So recruitment already happened doing September to maybe January, and then February to summer, you're probably looking for the last pieces to fill in the blank. And those are like your crucial pieces. You already got your crucial pieces,
Yeah.
so yeah.
I mean, that kind of, I mean, I've used the field level app as well. And I think I don't think, but a lot of the times coaches are reaching out and asking, like, hey, what is this player like?
Yeah.
What is this player like outside the field? Like,
Yep.
what is he like in the classroom? What is he like as a human being? And I feel like that is super important that a lot of kids don't really understand that it's not just about what you do with your feet, but
Yeah.
it's more so what's up here. How do you prepare yourself for a game? What do you do outside the game? What are you in the classroom? What are your teachers gonna say about you? If you
Yeah.
go to your professor, what is he gonna say about this so and so? Is he gonna say, hey, comes into class, get his work done,
Yep.
participates in class, or is he gonna say, I don't think I've seen him many times? So,
I've been
so
there a couple of
yeah,
times.
so I think those who are watching who want to play at the collegiate level, like that plays a crucial part. Your high school coaches, especially if you have a high school coach who's a teacher within the school, they would really know who you are as a person in the school, in the classroom.
Yep.
So
And even go as far to say like the you think about it like a letter of recommendation. That is so crucial. You want your coaches, you want your school admins or your guidance counselor. How can they give you one when they don't see you? Or they
yeah,
don't know who you are, or
yep,
you don't show up. You don't come out and like again, the relationship aspect, how you talk, how you speak, how you dress, all those things play into it. Everyone has their own style,
yeah,
but how you present it matters. How you step into certain all rooms matter.
yeah.
Good morning, good evening, have a good night, shake handshake. Yeah, that's the little things. But yeah, so here's I guess my next question for you. If a player mainly relies on high school soccer, where do you see gaps that they need to fill before thinking about college soccer?
So, I mean, at least here from Minnesota, we're playing high school soccer from August through October.
Yeah, until like section
Yeah.
coming in. Yeah.
And like, what are you doing in that 9 months? Are you training with a team or what are you doing? Because if you think about it, you're only doing high school soccer. What are you doing all those 9 months? If you're not doing anything, you're missing out on getting touches. And then
Mhm.
you have players who play both. And you could tell the difference between a player who just plays high school versus a player who plays club and high school. But also, I'd say a caveat to that is there's some just crazy athletes who are just
Yep.
good athletes. But is that how many times do you see that within the 4 years that you're in the program? Not very much. So I think that's kind of the biggest piece is like you need all year round soccer for you to kind of play and bridge that gap between high school and be ready for college soccer because I think that plays a major role and also competition level. If you're in a conference that, I mean, my conference is a prime. I mean, no respect, no disrespect to any teams, but like the level of players that we have versus the level of players that we have within our conference is like the gap is very high.
Yeah.
If you're within or if you're a team that plays in the Lake Conference, who you have Wyzetta, you have Hopkins, you have Minnetonka, you have all those high teams who at least one team ends up in the state tournament final. So like those also play a factor into it. So like the level of play is crucial. And if you're playing against those top teams game in and game out, are you really going to survive
Yeah.
versus those players who play all year round soccer? So that's kind of like that's where I see the gaps that need to be filled before kind of thinking about college soccer.
So it's more than just the win, it's a challenge, right? And then, okay, I guess this is like a little bit of a segue into for that piece. When you think about the competition, right? You said, what are you doing for the next 9 months, right?
Mhm.
Not a lot of players could afford club. And with how UPSL is growing in Minnesota, right? They're having the UPSL academies and then they're having the UPSL 1 and 2, right? Would you recommend players go to high school players or would you recommend high school players based on age and based on physical style of play and whatnot to go and try out for those? Because we also have Minneapolis City's future, right? There's a lot of high schoolers. I think they go as soon as you're 16 or 17 and older, you could join in. Is that something you recommend if players can't make it to club soccer? I mean, it's still considered club,
Yeah.
but we're talking about like club.
I think wherever like as long as you're getting touches on the ball and kind of opening your mind to different style of play, I think that works tremendously. But I think yes, UPSL plays a crucial role. I see a lot of players doing club ball, also doing UPSL at the same time.
Fair enough.
And I think that works because you're playing against grown men. And
Yep.
nine
Some of
times
them.
out of 10, when you go to high school, the physicality of the game is a lot
Yeah.
is similar to how it is. But also, I mean, I've been the player that didn't really couldn't afford club soccer. My parents came in to the US and it wasn't about soccer. It wasn't about being an athlete. It wasn't about being a superstar. It was more so about getting an education. And they didn't really invest money and time into me playing club soccer. Do I blame them for that? No, just because of where we grew up and not sports aren't really like something that you can make a career out of. So
Yeah.
I think that also plays a crucial part. But you can go to clubs and reach out and hey, like I'm not able to pay for club soccer. Like, is there any financial support within clubs? And I don't think any coach, director, anyone, admin would say no to a kid who can't afford club soccer. I've been in it. And for me personally, I feel like if you reach out, you'll find one person who would say, you know what, I got you.
Yeah.
I'll help you out.
And then adding to that, I know this is getting a little bit long in this
Yeah.
topic. Do you think the pay to play aspect has impacted how many people really have an opportunity to play soccer? If you think about our community, how many do you think there's a lot of talented kids who just will never get that chance to really play because they can't afford it.
No, I think it plays a crucial role. I mean, from where I grew up, like a lot of the kids are just playing just to play. There's no stress about money. There's no stress about financial. There's no stress about any of that. And from our community who their parents don't really think that soccer is a way to to
Yeah.
make money or anything like that. I think it can't like it takes away from players who have raw talent, who can play the game, who can make it
Yeah.
far to be able to make it far, if that makes sense. But making money a constraint on their ability to make it
Yeah.
to the next level.
Okay. Take away money though. Take away the money
Yeah.
aspect, like making money from the game, right? Do you think, right? Because I have a view on this, right? Like it doesn't, I don't believe it should be about making money, right? I just think that when you think about where we, from a mental health aspect of things, right? What do you think that playing a sport, right? We're talking soccer, but now let's talk sport. What do you think playing a sport could do for a kid?
It could do a lot of things positively. For sure, keep you out of trouble. If you're always within a community that is always around the sport, is just in a direction where you can benefit from it, I think it helps a lot. But I also think within our own community, parents play a big factor into making that happen. I think I'm only speaking for our community only, that a lot of parents don't support their child, show up to games,
Yeah.
drive them to trainings. And for me, there's been a lot of times where, hey, do you need a ride? Hey, ask so and so to give you a ride to the game. Who's showing up to your games? Those small pieces play a huge factor. And
Mhm.
if you don't have someone supporting you, who else will?
Yeah.
If your closest people aren't supporting you. So I think that plays a huge factor. I mean, my parents only showed up to my senior night, which that means the world to me
Yeah.
because I know what their intention is. But I think that plays a crucial role.
Yeah, no, it
I mean,
does.
big factor. I mean, we've seen the kids that we coach. We've seen kids who we've met who don't really get to meet their parents unless we're right at their doorstep.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
I think that also plays a huge factor.
And then, all right. So now I know it's stretching. I know it's stretching, right? So crazy, right? Because this is interesting, right? And again, back to what we want to talk about. These are the things we really want to knock into because we understand. And from our community is crazy because think about our parents, right? They don't show up. Is it because they can or don't want to? Or is it because they don't want to? Or is it because they can't based on the fact that, our parents came into the country, right? And they're still learning and we're learning as we go. And that puts us a little bit ahead of our parents because we're more in the community than they are or in the environment, right? And they are strictly focusing on what you think about it. We came from warm climates where it's warm all the time.
Mhm.
Our parents come in and then it's boom, snow. And then what? Food, like food on the
Yeah.
table and just making sure bills are paid, and wanting the best for us. Would you say it's not because they didn't want to, but because they couldn't based on the structure of this new world to them?
Yeah, I mean, I'd speak for me personally. I mean, my dad works from 11 p.m. to 7 a.m. So if you think about it, when does he get his rest if that's all he's doing, running at small pieces? But also say that the environment they grew up in, this doesn't exist where you're taking your kids to training, you're
Yeah.
doing this and that. I was raised in Sudan, and a lot of the things that we did was kind of independently. Like your parents, your mainly your dad is always working, and you kind of had to step into that role and start leading and being an example to the look to your siblings. And so taking that piece and bringing it to the US is also obviously it's a lot different, but they kind of bring in everything that they've taken
Yeah.
from back home to here and kind of continuing that structure. So I think that kind of plays a little bit more of a role into what we're doing here in the US. So that goes into player development as well. If your parents aren't always there, what do they see? Do they know that you're always playing? Do they know that you're developing? Do they know you're having fun, or is it more so you're just going just to go? So going back to the recruitment piece, from your time recruiting at the JUCO level, what were the first things you evaluated in a player besides technical ability? what do you kind of look for? The first things you look for?
I look at height. I look at I look at physical attributes,
Yeah,
your height, your weight, right? And then I want to then your video. I dissect your video to see you in moments. Do you fit my style of play tactically? Technically, yeah, we all want dribblers, but sometimes dribbling just isn't what we're looking for, right? Because I want a center back that's at least 6 foot. Doesn't have to be the fastest, but fast is a plus, the height factor, And then if I'm looking for a speedy outside back, I might maybe want them to be 5'9", 5'11",
yeah,
versus 6 foot, because maybe I play inverted system, where they change their shape and I need them to be. So I look at the attributes: height, weight, positional play. Like, do they fit? If they fit, then yeah. And then grades, go back on grades. I want to know that when you come in, like, it's not going to be an issue for you to get what you need. I've had some players that have done PSEO, and gotten X amount of credit. So knowing how to get them to understand, okay, like, you're going to need that transcript, you're going to need this, you're going to need that. So outside of playing, there's a lot more paperwork on the education side, stuff that they need to get done. But mainly, like, yeah, height, weight, position. Do you play two positions or one? Like, there's a lot more that, because then I know you're a two-way player. I can play you here, I can play you there.
So for anyone watching, every coach has different style of play and every coach looks for different things.
Yeah.
But I think the most common thing is your behavior outside the field is kind of a common thing
Yeah,
that coaches look for, would you
definitely.
say?
Yeah. We started off rough this season, and then we had a session where, hey, all of you guys pick your favorite songs, and we're gonna have a karaoke
Yeah.
right here on the field. You have a speaker, and you're gonna sing your song. You know how that went.
Yeah.
But but the whole piece is just understanding who your player is and who they are on the soccer field, outside the soccer field. Their playlist could tell you a lot
Yeah.
about them. How they drive into practice. Are they driving there 5 minutes before, 20 minutes before to go get treatment? Well, how they take care of business tells you exactly what you need to know. Mo, you lived the walk-on experience. You didn't understand recruiting at the time. What do you wish, right? What do you wish you what do you wish would have been explained better to you?
That I think the biggest piece is that just because you're a freshman in high school means that your grades doesn't matter. I think if someone would have told me as soon as you step into high school, like from the first class you take in high school to the last class, it matters. Your GPA matters, your behavior matters, but also, hey, these are steps that you should take to go and get recruited.
Mhm.
So I think if someone would have kind of told me that, I think obviously the path would have been different, but I mean, everything happens for a reason. But I'd also say do the best you can and prepare the best you can
Okay.
to go and play at the next level. So I think I would say that piece
Okay.
would have helped a lot.
Do you think the conversation aspect, I know being a freshman in high school, especially, it's crazy to hear, hey, do you see yourself going to college as a freshman? It's tricky, right? Or what do you want to do with soccer?
Yeah.
I mean, we've had this conversation a while back where we've asked a bunch of players, like, is soccer your way out?
Yeah.
And if it's your way out, how do you take advantage of it, And as a freshman, as freshmen, do you think the players are thinking about that? Or are they just thinking, like this, I'm in high school, I'm new, I just want to play and have fun, you know?
I think that's a good question. I mean, for me personally, I feel like guidance, if I had guidance, it would help a lot. And I think a lot of the kids don't really know if they want to play college
Yeah,
until junior, maybe senior year.
yeah,
And I think having guidance and letting them, no matter what you want to do, like you kind of have to be up with your grades. So if you decide that now you want to play college soccer and then you decide later, that will still help you
yeah,
because if you want to play college soccer, then the grades will help you a lot. But also, if you just want a high school diploma, grades really matters.
yeah.
So whichever path you take, grades are super important. And I never had that. So I think having that piece would help a lot going into whatever path I
Okay.
want to go into the next levels. That's kind of the biggest piece. What I would say is do players actually need to play in college, or can a strong high school environment and training habits still get a player notice?
For college?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it can. At the end of the day, like we've seen two-way athletes, right? We've seen you have a player right now that's
Yeah.
playing basketball,
Yeah.
and he's a very good basketball player, and he's also a very good soccer player, right? We've seen that. We've talked about Michael Burns.
Yeah.
We had Jake played
Yeah.
hockey, and you know,
Yeah.
we've had a lot of players speaking from the Armstrong experience. They call it Andreas,
Yeah.
those guys, right? That did play two sports, right? And nothing against them, you know. I don't think it limits, you know. I don't think there's any limitation to it, right? A strong high school environment can help players get noticed, right? Based on playing two sports, you're cross training. So muscles are it helps your development. You're building, you're activating different muscles that you've never used, you know, and then on top of that, like you know, it gives them something to do because it's kind of like the same thing like club, right?
Yeah.
When you said, "What are you doing for that 9 months?"
Mhm.
Well, if you're playing soccer and then from soccer you go to hockey, or from soccer we've had wrestlers, you go to wrestling, right? There's
Yeah.
different. You're cross training, right?
Yeah.
And then there's different muscles that are being activated, and then you might be getting explosive. Those soccer players that when we were at Armstrong, we said, go do track because it'll help you, right? In the summer, stay in shape for the summer. And some of them that were still, they'll be done from high school soccer. And then those are the guys that picked up a club either right after or in the spring. And then we're like, do track in the meantime so you can stay in shape. So a good high school environment can. Club is not a end all, right? If you don't do it, you won't be good, but it's a good place. It's a good structure to have to be able to get more touches. Because playing pickup with your friends don't really get you what you need. It's just good to have fun, but it's also not a negative. It's not saying that pick up the play. As long as you're playing and having touches on the ball, I think you'll get better. It's up to you as a player to start to identify what it is that you want to get better at. Because if you're going out to the field and just putting the ball down, taking free kicks, when you never take a free kick in a game, you know, or just take your shed shots, right? But if you're in a moving environment where it's unbalanced, things are challenging you, then you're good. You know, all that being said, it's a double-edged sword. It's good and it's bad. But if you could do it all right and still get it wrong, and you could do it all wrong and get it right. And a mix of everything and still get the same outcome. Playing at college just requires you to have the mindset to know that that's what you want to do, and then start asking questions, like guidance, getting guidance from club coaches, getting guidance from coaches in your high school. Maybe they could direct you to who to go to, especially if they've never been at that level, played at that level, like that type of stuff. But it's not a one all and all. But yeah. So for you, right? So from your club coaching perspective, what kind of players thrive most in the club to college pathway?
I'd say disciplined players, players who work on their craft, players who come and ask questions, players ask questions, not just questions, but ask for feedback. I think those players thrive a lot because they care about what they're doing and they care about getting better. And that's kind of what college looks like, is you kind of have to take care of your own stuff. And
Yeah.
if you work out on your own, if you work on your ball skills on your own, you continue to get better. Those are things that kind of prepare you and help you. Like if you have a break from playing, what are you doing in that meantime? So those pieces play a
Yeah.
crucial role into being ready, being prepared, and making the jump.
It's crazy you say that, right? Because, you know, sometimes like I
Yeah,
could always want to go out and get extra touches, right?
yeah,
And so many people are like, man, why is he so? You gotta be obsessed. You
yeah,
gotta be disciplined. Your obsession and your discipline is what gets you where you're at. And that's one of the things I respected about him, because that's what I'm like. Sometimes you might go by yourself, right? And that will help you. But what happens if you have a few other people with you? That could really, and he did a very good job in getting a bunch of these guys together. And I think he did such a good job that a lot of took that blueprint on and then started following, especially for Armstrong, right? You know, knowing what they know and where they want to go. So yeah, that's very big.
On the flip side, though, as a JUCO coach, the type of player, what type of player have you seen succeed through high school to college route, even without a major club?
I've seen the players that just want it. Like you said, discipline, the players that are just hard work. The thing is, like everyone's not the same. You have to kind of have a dog in you, right? To say this is what I want to do. And then some of it is research, and even when you have no guidance to go and do it. Ask questions. One of the things I always flip back to players about is go talk to your old teammates that moved on and asked them how their experience was. Who I really liked, a year before we were done from Armstrong, when we talked to Tucker. Tucker played at St. Thomas University before they were D1, and then he finished, 2 years in D1.
Yeah.
We talked to him, and he was like, man, the gap between high school and college is so big, but then the gap between college and pro is like that close.
Yeah.
Is so close. The players that succeed are the ones that really just have a drive and desire to get it. And they're the ones that find a way to keep playing and keep training and go out even in the worst conditions to get touches, without club. Even if they do have clubs, sometimes clubs don't provide what they want and they
Hmm.
just need extra touches. They go private training or they spend more time on the field. Like it's crazy. But, I ask you this, when families ask you whether they should prioritize club or rely more on high school soccer, how do you guide them to their decision?
Um,
Or do you guide them?
I mean, I'd say they both play two different factors. I think they both play different roles within recruitment. I think the club level creates the all year round playing soccer versus the high school that brings in the college kind of similar playing for the school, playing, being a varsity player, having a student section, having that aspect, going back to school and everyone knows you're a varsity player, you guys
Yeah.
won a game and whatnot. So I think for me personally, I'd say like I wouldn't guide them to make pick one or another. I'd say like they both play different roles within recruitment. And I think if you have the chance to do both, I'd say
Yeah.
do it because if you're a youth and like, what are you doing in the fall season? Like
Yeah.
that's the only thing you have is high school soccer. I mean, obviously there might be some other things outside of high school, but we're speaking only from Minnesota that this is kind of what you have because
Yeah.
all the UPSL teams, players are
Yeah.
playing college soccer. So I wouldn't guide them to make one decision, but more so guide them to, hey, they both play different roles. And I think do
Okay.
both.
So then I ask you this, because this is a good one, right? And this is very good for parents to understand too. The cutoff of when do you stop playing club when fall hits for high school, or would you push the eighth grader to high school, and what does that look like when you push them? Like, what are the things that parents should understand? High school coach or club coach that is pushing, or should club coaches push their players at a certain age to go to high school? What are your thoughts?
I mean, now that we're going back to the system of ninth graders play with all ninth graders, 10th and whatnot, I think it'll be a lot easier where ninth graders are going to go play high school and there's not really a cutoff. But I think from past experience, we've seen players who have played 5 years in the program excel and under like you could tell they played high school soccer for a long
Hmm.
period of time. And especially those eighth graders who are freshmen, you see what their their attributes coming into high school season. So cut off, I mean, all the kids develop at a different rate. You might have an eighth grader who's 5'10", is very strong, very fast, and you might have a eighth grader who's not 5 foot. So like the physicality of high school soccer plays a crucial role. And not having, you might have a very good technical player, but the physicality is in there.
But do you still want to give them a chance though?
But
That's
that
the
also
question.
depends on the coach.
Yeah.
All coaches are different. Some coaches might be like, you know what, you're a dog, go play.
Yep.
And you have those players who are short, who might not be the strongest, but they have a dog in them that they just want to play and work their butt off.
Okay.
And I think if you have grit,
Go for it.
put
But
them on the field.
how do you guide parents, right, that are like, I don't know if our players is ready, are the ones that are worried about their players getting hurt? Do you try to just tell them, hey, it's a good experience? Or do you just say, do what's best for you?
I think experience plays a crucial role, but also say, hey, go have a conversation with the high school coach, see what
Yeah.
he thinks, see if he's gonna be on the field. But also say, if you're an eighth grader playing on the ninth grade team,
Yeah, yeah,
Is it really of a difference? Or if it's an eighth grader playing on a varsity team,
yeah,
what does that look like? So
yeah.
I think both go into play on that piece as well. From your experience recruiting, how did parent involvement impact players' opportunities? Not just positive, but also negatively as well.
I haven't had any interaction when recruiting with a parent like where it's been negative. A lot of them are excited. Even players who've committed and then like stepped back from it and went elsewhere on uncommitted, or change their commitment and went elsewhere. It hasn't been bad. Like at the end of the day, the player makes a decision that's best for them. Um I would say parents should ask questions. I think they should ask some of the hard questions to understand, right? But at the same time, many coaches might not want. And I personally think it's a double-edged sword. It's a negative and a positive. Like you want your player to or be mature. I say man up, be more mature, but at the same time, you also want them to advocate for themselves, teach them how, because they're stepping in the world as men, young men, and they're going to have to speak up in so many of these rooms. But between club and high school for you, what do you wish parents understood better about the player pathway and development?
I think the player pathway and development works when parents, coaches are aligned. And where I see that is a lot of parents want to give instructions to their kids in terms of like supporting them, but in a way saying the opposite of what the coach wants them to
Okay.
do. And that plays a crucial role in terms of if you have your kid who you've been given instructions from God knows when, and now it's a moment where he's being given instruction from the coach and it's a conflict of interest of
Yeah.
what's right and what's wrong, what should I do and what should I not
Is that
do.
like sideline coaching?
Yes. I think that is super, super, super important because I think the younger they are, the more obedient they are to their parents,
Yeah.
and they feel as though their parents will always be right.
Yeah.
So, like you 9, you 10, to you 12, they'll be like, okay, my parents told me to do this, I'm gonna have to do it. But then you have a coach on the sideline who's telling you to play a certain way, and that also plays a factor. For example, if coaching a 9v9 team and they have certain cues on when to go and win the ball.
Yeah.
And as soon as the goal kick happens, you have parents saying, run, 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 run. And then you got the kids just running. No, so it's kind of like we worked on when to go win the ball and when not to. And as soon as the ball is played, you got parents yelling, run, 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 run.
And then they come up to you and say, well, my player didn't play that much because he ran until he was tired. Now he needed a break.
So that kind of I think that's why we have this podcast, because sometimes it pisses me off that you're telling your kid to run, but why?
Are you at practice sitting there watching?
Like God.
Okay, that's funny.
Yeah. So also there's cues on when to dribble, when to pass.
Yeah.
You see a kid who good on the ball, can take one player on, and you have a player, parents say, pass, pass, pass. Ooh.
Yeah, so
Let them be free
Yeah.
and let them do what they feel is right. Every coach is different, but I give my players certain cues, certain moments to do certain things.
Yeah.
One thing that I tell kind of players, wingers, like if I'm in that attacking third and it's a 1v1 situation, then I must take that player on 1v1.
Yeah.
But then if you have parents on the sideline who say, pass, 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 or shoot, 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 that's a conflict of interest of what we're trying to accomplish and what's better for that player's development, because maybe I'm saying that because that player doesn't do it often and he's not really good at it.
You're trying to set the tone to build his confidence. I've been to a few of your high school games, especially this season, right? Would you say being on the opposite side of the fans and parents, because usually everyone's on the same side.
Yeah.
For you, your experience, do you think being on the opposite side, that helps a lot?
I think yes and no, but I feel like some parents are just gonna say it no matter if they're on the other side or this side, and they're gonna just speak how
Gotcha.
they want to speak. But also, I think with the younger ages, I've done a tactic where some of the players that I know that their parents will talk
Yeah.
a lot, I put them on the opposite side. I put them on the side that I'm in,
That's
and
strategic.
that kind of
Smart.
eliminates that piece.
And
But I also have kids who come to me and be like, "My dad told me to shoot, but you told me not to shoot." So I'm like, "Listen, once we're in a game, whatever your parents say, ratchet. They're not your parents for that 60, whatever it is, and you're only listening to my instructions and my instructions only. So if I tell you, do not pass that, do not pass that ball." And it also starts with the U9s, 10s,
Yeah.
because every time they want to look on the sideline and see what their parents want them to do. And it's more so,
it dictates if they get ice cream after the game.
I think, like, God. So for me, I'm like, oh God.
Oh, I'm just playing. I'm just playing.
Yeah.
That was not serious. You know, when the basket comes across the field at the end of the game, I brought you snacks.
My dad told me if I score 5 goals, that I'll get an ice cream. And I'm like, oh, okay. You know what?
I got to figure out how to get here to score 5 goals.
So like those pieces kind of play a crucial role in like players' development and that piece. But parents, sometimes you guys, you know what, you're much appreciated either way. But I think for us coaches, being able to coach and know that parents are on the same kind of on the same page as us helps the player's development a lot, because then you're not worried about what that parent is saying, what that parent is saying, and you're only focused on coaching and making sure that player gets better. So I think parents play a crucial role in players' development and how they play.
Yeah, and I think like just having that openness and that communication and allowing and asking your coach this question, that goes a long way, because you could help them better explain. And you know, once that transparency is there, it is easy with the development outside of practice. You know, at one time I told parents when I was at Park Valley, you know, with a couple of ages ago, hey, go outside, help them in the backyard for 10, 15 minutes, because sometimes it's about them just really seeing that their parents are involved.
Yeah.
And that's it, instead of just showing up, you know, like, hey, let's go outside and kick the ball around for a couple minutes. That goes a long way. Your player remember, and then they might mimic that with their kids and intentionally set up time, showing up. You know, we talked about it earlier. Showing up goes a long, you know, because we want them to have the best experience, and with you being there and seeing that all of us are working together for the common good, you know.
And I think, I mean, that's going to happen if you feature podcasts where we're going to have a parent sitting somewhere right here, and they're going to tell us everything that we do that pisses them off.
Yeah.
So that's what kind of this podcast is about. We'll dive into it more so in future episodes. So I know we kind of moved a little bit, segue a little bit, but kind of giving players advice. I'd say what's the one piece of advice that I'd give players who want to play collegiately, who want to play at the next level? Obviously, you have your experience from JUCO, but your playing days as a player and that piece. What advice would you give those players?
Like when you walk into the door, you're a student of the game. To this day, I still believe in that. You're always a student. Even as coaches, we're student of the game, right? And as a player, student of the game is let go of that arrogance. Let it go. Like, you might think you're D1, D2, right? At the end of the day, you got to remember the statistics, right? Of how many players. There's so many players that play club soccer or just play soccer altogether in high school, right? But the percentage that move on to play at the collegiate level is very, very low. Pull it up. Pull it up on your phone. What's the statistic? What is the statistic right there of how many players go on from high school to play in college? Like, it's a crazy number, right? I think being humble, being grateful, and like just having gratitude for the ability to play, right? Like, I'm retired from playing and I should still be playing. And that's because I got hurt, you know, and the injury.
All right. Only a small fraction of high school athletes play in college, with general estimates around 6% of all high school athletes, that's over 8 million, continuing to play in college, all levels.
Right. And I just strongly believe in being humble, being grateful for the opportunity to play, and then understanding that you're going to work hard.
If few college soccer players go pro, with estimates around 0.4% of men, 0.8% of women.
Right. That go on and play pro. right? Be grateful that you got the ability to play at that young age and work your way up to play college. I believe playing college soccer at least 1 year, it'll tell you if it's for you or not. And I believe every high school player, right, or club player who played that long should at least, go out and play 1 year. Utilize that talent to get a partial scholarship and fund your education. Use all the resources, use the training. You're gonna first see an athletic trainer, not the ones at the showcases that just give you ice or just give you a slap on the wrist and say, oh, you could go home and do this. Just understand that you have weight room access. Some colleges have swimming pool. You have ice baths, heat baths, you have STEM. You're going to have access to so much stuff. So, right, be able to use all these things to learn more about yourself and expand and grow your knowledge about your self-care and how to improve your performance. Because at the end of the day, after that 4 years, if you don't go pro, how was it after your first ice bath? And then now, speak now as to if you were training or you were lifting and what's not. How cool
I
would
think
it be to have an ice bath?
like before, I'm like, bro, why am I putting myself in cold water? Like that makes no sense. But then after doing it, after like an intense training session, I go into the ice bath and I'll get out of it. I'm like, okay,
Recovery.
this feels a lot better. Now, anytime that I feel like I'm just out of it with training, ice bath it is.
Yeah.
And I recommend it to every single player. Not just if you want to go college, but if you're just playing high school soccer, club soccer. I mean, we've invented the ice bath. Armstrong, where we
Yep.
bought big tubs, and our recovery days were ice bath.
Yep.
So I think it plays a crucial part into recovery because it's not just about kicking a soccer ball, it's about taking care of your body and knowing
Yeah.
what to do after a game, after training, after class,
Yeah.
those pieces. So
Okay, cool. But going back to the question, right? What advice I would give? I would literally tell you to get all your ducks lined up,
yeah.
right? Get your grades, reach out to the college, like research the college, look at everything the college offers. Do they offer if they don't offer your major, this is an advice I give to a lot of players, and you still want to play soccer, just understand your first 2 years are generals, unless you did PSEO and you advance yourself, right? At least go and play 1 year. And then two, again, research, talk to the coach, meet the coach, talk to a few players at the college by themselves and ask them their experience. Don't just get the captains, get the guys that nobody talk to, nobody see. Their experience is true. That will help you understand that if that is your personality type and you're similar to this person or that person, you better understand what is going to happen. Is this a right fit for you? Then go on your recruitment visits, go on your college visits, right? And see everything. Seeing the college, understanding like your ways in and out, who's going to be supporting you, who your ADs are. Meet everyone, Meeting them, a handshake, them having time for you says a lot. And then just send your videos, get everything you need to get. And kind of go from there.
And then kind of going into advices, and I think the one advice I'd give players based on the mindsets, habits, um, like prepare yourself, be prepared, prepare mentally, prepare physically. And that goes beyond working out in the summertime and getting touches on the ball and playing in an environment, but also nutrition plays a huge factor into that
Yeah.
as well. I think a lot of kids now are like, I don't care what I eat, I'm just gonna go eat and whatnot. They don't really not expect you to go weigh everything, attention
Yeah.
and protein. No, it's more so eating the right way and eating things that will help fuel you. Like
Yeah.
before a game, you should not be going and eating lasagna and then coming to a game and warming up and think that that's gonna help
Like
you.
right before, like 40
Yes.
minutes. Like you're
So so those pieces are crucial. Do you have a banana before a game? Do you have a protein before a game? Protein shake. Those little pieces I think, are habits that are gonna help you in the collegiate level. And the higher you are, Division 3, Division 2,
yeah.
NCAA D1,
Mhm.
then you might have nutritionists, you might have chefs
Yeah.
and those type of pieces.
Where some
Um,
players might take magnesium to help
yeah.
them go to bed, how to properly detach yourself when the day ends, and proper preparation prevents poor performance. And if you do everything right, your chances of being more successful is higher. versus just taking chance and being wishy-washy about how you feel, how you recover. Because at least you know you got 8 to 12 hours of sleep versus running off of an all-nighter and getting an hour of sleep.
Yeah.
You know, and then your frustration is up, and then mentally you're not just disagreement. You know, like little things that would throw you off. But yeah,
If players could just remember one thing about this podcast, what should it be? Just about this podcast today.
today we want to give you an idea, right? We're giving you an idea from our experience of how to prep yourself, right? Some of the names that we've taught are or the things we've talked about is to give you an idea that you might potentially experience it, and at least knowing that you've heard it here, you know how to set yourself up and how to navigate through this and that going. If you're a freshman, right? Not everybody wants to hear this long of a podcast about what it is, but it's real about what you do go through or what you will be going through. If you're good with your grades, then and you're a good teammate, help another teammate. That's kind of what we're saying, right? Hey, you're a very good soccer player. I might not be the greatest. Let's work together. You help me with soccer, I help you with your homework,
Yeah.
and help each other, you know? And then understand that the World Wide Web is your tool to success, and how you use it matters because you could be really successful, you know? And then, you know, based on your experience, what is the one message you want parents to walk away with, especially being a club director and with your high school program?
I'd say support your kids, guide them, help them. And I think like the best thing you could do for them is just guide them and help them. Share your experiences about if you did play collegiately or you are in college, give them advice. Remind them that they're student athletes. They're student athletes, they're not athlete students, that they should always, 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 education comes first before anything else. Because if you fail at that, you fail at everything else. And I think that's the one message that I want parents to walk away with. As much as nowadays kids are like, I don't know if my parents know what they're talking about, but the one thing that I think they could say is that education is important and that you can help them in making the best decisions. Obviously, not make the decision for them, but kind of give them tools, give them the tools necessary to make that decision, just like how we're kind of giving tools based on our own experiences. We're not going saying, oh, this is the way to play
Yeah.
college soccer, but it's more so this is one way, and two ways of playing college soccer and being able to play college soccer. And at least now you can see that no one is perfect. Everyone here plays, have went through the college route differently, and that everyone here will continue to kind of learn. We're here to learn, we're here to adapt. Obviously, let us know any thoughts, feedback, questions, or anything in that piece. So that's kind of the biggest piece.
We want to be a resource. We want to be able to help. And again, Mo said it best. It's not the right way or the wrong way. But if you do come upon some of these experiences, how do you navigate and how do you, you know? And we use this platform to help you also understand when you experience something similar or different, please help another. For those guys who have left college or who have left high school, just remember your relationships that you met built with your teammates are long lasting, you know. And those guys that leave high school and go on and play college, it's a good place to go back and give your take to the younger generation that's coming up on what to expect. And again, they might not listen right then and there, but as they get older and they get more mature, it does come to you know, where we're at. So we appreciate you for joining the conversation on Beyond the Touchline. Whether you're a player, coach, or parent, keep pushing the game forward. And we will talk to you next episode.
Thank you guys for watching. Stay connected with us on Spotify, Instagram, follow our TikTok too, by the way. You'll see a lot of clips on there, but we appreciate you watching. We appreciate you tuning in and taking time out of your day to really listen to us ramble about things that some people care about, some people don't. But I hope this podcast came across as meaningful, as helpful as it can be.